President Uhuru Kenyatta and his elder brother, Raila Amolo Odinga, are currently in the United States of America. The two brothers are attending the National Prayer Breakfast, which is currently underway. And yesterday, President Uhuru Kenyatta delivered a very powerful speech at the Atlantic Council in Washington, D.C. And remember, the president was also expected to deliver another speech at the breakfast meeting. And today I want us to look at or to focus on the president's speech at the Atlantic Council. Because in my view, that speech by the president is significant. Because if you all remember, yesterday I did a video about President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga's real mission to the United States of America. And in that video, I highlighted what I considered to be the real mission of the two brothers to the United States of America. And I listened very keenly to President Uhuru Kenyatta's speech. And in that speech, the president addressed so many issues. But I want to pick only one item: his speech on the Building Bridges initiative. But before we go ahead, what is Atlantic Council? According to Wikipedia, let me just get you this. The Atlantic Council is an American think tank in the field of international affairs. Basically, it's one of those respected think tanks across the country in the League of Chatham House. It was founded in 1961. It provides a forum for international politics, business, and intellectual leaders. It manages 10 regional centers and functional programs related to international security and global economic prosperity. And if you go to their website, which is atlanticcouncil.org, they describe themselves as follows. The Atlantic Council promotes constructive leadership and engagement in international affairs based on Atlantic community's central role in meeting global challenges. The Council provides an essential forum for navigating the dramatic economic and political changes defining the 21st century by informing and galvanizing its uniquely influential network of global leaders. So basically, that meeting, which the president addressed yesterday, is very important. And in his speech for the first time, the president revealed 3 goals of the Building Bridges initiative. And we are going to focus on those 3 goals. And before we go into the details, I want you to listen to the president describing Building Bridges initiative.
In Kenya, for example, political, social, and governance engineering is what we are embarking on in Kenya with our Building Bridges initiative. I will discuss it more at the National Prayer Breakfast Luncheon later this afternoon. And indeed, I do hope that some of you will be in attendance. In a nutshell, the Building Bridges initiative, as we call it in Kenya, is a homegrown solution for a divisive political culture that has often sparked electoral crises over the last 30 years. And its intention is to advance 3 goals.
Now, that's President Uhuru Kenyatta. And he's talking of 3 goals. Before we go into those 3 goals, there was one person who was a former ambassador, the US ambassador, who was a former US ambassador to Kenya, William Bellamy. This guy stayed in Kenya between 2003 and 2006, and he understands Kenya so well. And he asked President Uhuru Kenyatta a very clear message about the Building Bridges initiative. I wanted to listen to him asking the president this question and how the president responded.
I'm going to turn to the audience, and I'd like to give the honor of the first question to a person you know very well, the Honorable former Ambassador to the U.S. Ambassador to Kenya, Mr. Mark Bellamy. There's a microphone.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President, for being here today. It's very, very nice to see you again. I was very interested in your remarks just now about BBI, the Building Bridges Initiative. I think for many of us, it appears as a bold effort, really, to bridge some of these deep, historic, partisan divides. And it's pretty easy to see how this connects with your development and economic goals. But you also spoke of inclusivity and outreach, and made it clear there's also a political dimension to this. And I wonder if you could share with us your thinking about what are your political goals in this? What would you like to see as a good political outcome for the BBI initiative?
I think what I can say is a good political outcome is a scenario. You know Kenya well. There was a tremendous fight in the late 80s, which ended up in 1992, changed the Section 2A to allow multi-partyism. And what I have been telling people since then, you can take a look at any election, the election of 92, where our former president, formed a government which is actually a minority government if you take in terms of popular vote, because he had about, 30% of the total vote. Come to 97, right? Again, I think it was even slightly lower, but it was just that the opposition itself was split, yeah? In fact, the only time in the history of our multi-party era where the combined joint opposition came together was to defeat me in 2002, right? Where you can say that they won with about 65 to almost 70% majority. Because then you come back to 2010, again it was 50-50. 2013, 50-50. 2017, 50-50. So it's basically not sustainable, and that's why there is always room for people to dispute elections.
Now, that's President Uhuru Kenyatta. And for the first time, the president is acknowledging one thing which none of former presidents ever acknowledged. That in this country, there is a problem in the electoral process. And that those problems started immediately after the multipartism. And he gave a clear example in 1992. In 1992, he gave another example of 1997. And as a matter of fact, during those times, the opposition could have easily won. But KANU ruled as a minority. So majority of Kenyans were left out. And then the president is giving example of 2002 when he was defeated. And clearly that was the only time Kenya had a free and fair election. So basically what the president has done there, he has given Kenyans the genesis of the problems which we have. To an extent that if we'll continue pretending that we don't have a problem in this country to solve, then we are wrong. And the president also failed to explain the real motive behind the Building Bridges initiative, because he fears that by saying that, he will be accused of taking a stand. But the president, in a very clear way, explained the three goals of the Building Bridges initiative. And these three goals are, number one, to preempt any further escalation of that circle, where every year we go to an election, then a majority of Kenyans feel left out. Number two is to use the inclusivity to strengthen the center of our politics. Inclusivity means we have Kenyans going to vote, then 52% of them votes for a party, 48% don't vote for that party. And then for the next 5 years, Kenya is ruled like that. You are in government or you are outside the government. So the president is trying to say they are going to figure out. Then number three is talking of deliver bold reforms. And the reforms the president is talking about, we are going to go into the details of this, is talking of inclusivity, is talking of economic uplifting, is talking of corruption and strengthening institutions. Because basically, those are the ills which are facing the country. And now to go into those details, I want us to listen to the president responding to the president explaining the first goal, which is to use inclusivity to strengthen the center of our politics.
The first, to preempt any further escalation in the cycle of no-holds-barred political competition by taking early and decisive action to reach out across the aisle. I did this with the Honorable Raila Odinga in March of 2018, at a time when few in Kenya or anywhere imagined this was
Basically,
possible.
the president, in my view, has failed to explain to me or to convince me how they are going to preempt these further escalations. Because in 2018, when they had the handshake, Kenya was actually sliding. And they were able to preempt it. What of the future? How are they going to prevent such a thing or such a case from happening? In my view, one of the issues which Building Bridges initiative must address is the power of the vote, such that if you vote, that your one vote should count. And it should count in a free, fair, and transparent manner. And the president was explaining clearly that for them, they are talking of free, fair, and now they are adding inclusivity. But how are they going to preempt such a situation? That's something which is not coming out very clearly. But I think because he didn't want to go into those details, maybe there's a plan on how they're going to deal with that. Number two was the issue of inclusivity to strengthen the center of our politics.
The second is to use inclusivity to strengthen the center of politics, which is necessary for democracy in our country to be successful. That center is identified by being able to manifest the qualities of moderation, pragmatism, and a willingness to compromise. Our stepping forward toward one another, without doubt, has helped us disorient the politics of extremism and division.
Now, on this one, I think this is achievable. And through the Building Bridges initiative, we can easily achieve it as a country. If, for example, we are going to have a president and a deputy president, we are going to have the Speaker of the National Assembly, the Speaker of the Senate, we are going to have a Prime Minister, we are going to have two deputy Prime Ministers, we are going to have Minister, for example, Minister for Finance, and the rest distributed across tribes. Then I think the Building Bridges initiative can cure some of this. Currently, what's happening in this country where Kenyans are bitter is that there's certain sectors in this country which are dominated by one tribe or two tribes. And because those sectors are important to the economy of the country, the rest of the country always feel left out. I don't think whether the problems of Kenyans really is with who is the president or not. But the system has made it possible for Kenyans to think that the person sitting at the presidency is the problem because systems don't work. And now that takes us to number three, which is to deliver bold reforms.
The third is to ensure that the strengthened and more stable center is able to deliver bold reforms that advance inclusion, economic uplift, counters corruption, and strengthens our institutions. So, as a think tank, I believe that you as a council should delve deeper into our Building Bridges initiative process. It is not as simple as it looks, and we have found a number of countries seeking to learn from it in trying to re-engineer their politics and social contracts. We have been open in sharing, and in time, I believe that this may emerge as a unique model that can be adopted and domesticated
No, I
elsewhere
think
on the African
the
continent.
delivery of the bold reports, of the bold reforms, that's the catch. Can President Uhuru Kenyatta and his brother Raila Odinga live to the billing? And they're talking of 4 reforms, inclusivity. Can Kenyans achieve this? Because as things stand today, even after this handshake, the president has been making tribal appointments in this country. Economic uplifting. What is the government currently doing to the economy of this country? Because while countries like Rwanda are making progress, ours is going down. Number 3, they're talking of corruption. Can the system fight corruption? Can Uhuru Kenyatta fight corruption? Can Raila Odinga fight corruption? Because the moment they start fighting corruption, their people are tainted. That's why Raila Odinga cannot speak very loudly about corruption. Anytime he tries to speak about corruption, people will remind him about his governors. For example, the governor of Homa Bay, the governor of Siaya. And anytime Uhuru Kenyatta tries to speak about corruption, he's being reminded that he's only targeting the allies of the deputy president. And lastly, strengthening institutions. Can the IBC be reformed to deliver free, fair, and credible elections? What of EACC? Can it independently investigate corruption in this country? What of the DCI? Is it being weaponized? And I think the president did so well. But I chose that particular aspect of the Building Bridges initiative because I felt it was necessary, because that's the main thing for now. And if you're bumping on this video for the first time, I want to just take a second or two and hit the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, you get notified. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support. Because without that support, this channel would not be where it is today. And just the one request I always make here is that you help me create interactions. It's very simple. If you like the video, just click the thumbs up. If you don't like it, thumbs down. So that I'll be able to know whether the video did well or the video was bad. And the best one is just to leave your comments. What do you think about the president's trip to the United States of America? Thank you guys, and may you have a good day.